going because it was a little bit of a lag today, a little bit of a lag, but price is moving kind of with Bitcoin, I guess, still the same price realistically, or the same price range that we've been in since early February. However, other markets are moving. We are starting to see gold really finally put in that major, what I really do think is a macro high. Same thing with silver. I think silver is just super fucking obvious there as well. And then, of course, we got traditional markets following through here too. In fact, coming into the end of Friday, a very important closure, we are going to see very likely, I mean, look, it's a long day left to go, of course, but very, 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 very likely a very likely attempt to close below, finish out the week below the daily 200 moving average. And I do think that this is just continuation all the way through. Again, we've continually moved down the sort of resolution point to flip around our biases from being, I guess, just, kind of bearish. Bearish doesn't sound like the right term, to be honest with you, but just generally expecting downside. And, it just continues to fail all of these pivots. We've moved it down several times now. It started out over here at 7,010, then moved down to about 69.85 or so, then moved it down again to about 69.09, then again to 68.98, then again to 68.52 this past week, and then most recently, a couple days ago, to 68.14. Basically, as long as it's below there, I mean, these markets want to come down. They have the right trend in their favor for more downside continuation. And looking at the weekly right here, it's hard not to look at this one as likely to retest right down around that green 55 EMA for SPY. And I have to imagine that pretty much all markets going to come down in unison with that. I mean, this is an all market thing right now. It's not just, like a certain sector. It's not rotations. This is an all market thing. We are not looking at rotations right now. This is not the same things what we have been looking at for the past few years. This is not fucking rotations. And in this case, if we do see SPY come down to the 55 EMA right here, which is really not even that far away right now, I mean, you're probably going to get a balance, but there is a real concern for price coming even lower than that. I mean, we are coming into the end of this month, right? The end of this month. I mean, we got another 10, 11 days in the month of March. But as it stands right now, I mean, this is a rounded top right here. And we're going to most importantly, or, among other things that are very important as well, but something that I pay a lot of attention to is that red 5 EMA on the monthly time frame is just such a simple way to analyze the markets for the long term. And as long as you're above it, just trade to the upside. When you start to go below it, look for bigger corrections. And the next corrective target is going to be down to that yellow 21 EMA, which is decently lower, I would say. I mean, that is about a, I don't know, 6, 7, 8% move. Let me actually measure this one out. This one's going to really bug me if I get that wrong. And what do you know? About almost 6% right there from current price to what would be the next prospective low. I think we actually do not see bearish divergence right here between that previous high from November of 2024 and what would be the next high right here. So I don't think there's going to be like a major massive macro reversal or anything like that. This ultimately is going to be extremely likely a major opportunity for long-term investors, at least. So if I do see price down around anywhere around this region, let's just call it 6,200, give or take, maybe $50 from that number. I'm looking to invest for the long term. And until then, assuming things kind of stay constant until the end of this month, which is a very, very big, I should acknowledge it's a very, very big assumption, but looking, quite likely right here. That is the way right now. And the next major stop in the short term, maybe something that we see probably next week, if I had to guess, somewhere around 6,500, maybe slightly below 6,500. That should be the next sort of short-term bounciest region. I guess if things are going to have a little bit more of an optimistic take in the sense of, maybe we see a reversal a little bit earlier, that would be it. But assuming that level fails, then yeah, it's a long way down to 6,200 or so. But those are the two major areas of interest that I'm looking at for SPY right now. And all of the marks I'm just not even interested in, at least for anything other than short-term bounces until we see those numbers hit. And right here on the weekly time frame for SPY, we got that same corrective setup that we've seen so many fucking times on this channel, so many times. It's a classic setup. It is not a perfect setup. It is not, in my opinion, the most tradable setup, but it is certainly very useful for general directional analysis. And it is that interplay between the red 5 EMA and the yellow 21 EMA. Those have crossed. And again, my minimum corrective target, again, minimum, like not maximum, but minimum would be that 55 EMA, and that's 64.90. So, coming into the end of this week in about 4 hours, 39 minutes, and 56 seconds and counting, I mean, this is looking like it is a setup for lower. I mean, there's really there's not really any reason to be looking at this as the next major low. And again, the sort of reversal point that I'd still be having for this one, and this would pretty much put everything else on notice as well, is just this past week's high, the Tuesday high at 68.14. As long as it's below there, I'm getting ready for those prices. That's where I'm angled towards. And, you know, I'll let the chips fall where they may. And I imagine gold, Bitcoin, silver, all the commodities and more are going to get fucking hammered. And obviously stocks too. They're going to get hammered during that time. Because this is our first major correction really since, I mean, fuck, man, really since, I guess, April of last year on this really, really nasty and severe, almost one-off correction, you know, which did get eaten up very, very quickly afterwards. But yeah, you know, that was nasty. And I do think that a little bit of patience here can go a long way. Even in waiting for, you know, a major moving average like this to be tested, I do think it's just going to present a long-term opportunity. But in the short term, yeah, it's like, am I interested in investing right now? No. Am I interested in trading? You know, I've been trading options, of course. I showed my new options position yesterday. In fact, it didn't really come off that well on the TradingView strategy builder. I'll show you why. If you understand options, you'll very quickly notice that this is incorrect. And I was kind of scratching my head yesterday, thinking like, wait, that doesn't sound right. And upon, you know, further review, it certainly was not right. But here's the thing. Oh, sorry, no, actually, hold on. No, wait, what? Hold on. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So initially we started with that bear put spread, basically shorting the $61,000 puts versus longing the $59,000 puts. I did it 3-to-1 in favor of the short side. Then I added 2 short call strikes. That was during this past week, one of them coming as soon as just a couple days ago. And for whatever reason, the maximum profit down here is not, I mean, this equity curve is not accurately representing this. Because look, if I add the $77,000 call strike, that actually looks right. But then when I add the $75,000 call strike, my maximum profit goes down. That should not be the case. It actually should be going up quite significantly by about 20 times 450 right there. And my equity curve right here should be, you know, slightly different. So apparently that was not correct. I don't know why TradingView does it that way, but hey, they just started offering up their options trains and options chains and strategy builder. So, you know, perhaps we got to give them some time to make those correct. But the equity curve looks something like that. It should be a lot more, though. It should be a lot more, to be fair. Anyways, yeah, let's get into some. Should we go over Bitcoin? Should we go over? I actually haven't even looked at oil this morning. Let's look at crude, see what it's doing. Last I looked at it, it was still below $100. It's still below $100 right here, but it is fighting rather valiantly. So I do think that I can very well be wrong about calling a potential macro top here. Was it a major top? Yes, but in this case, we do see that this one's fighting it off and still remaining above even the daily 5 EMA. So again, long day left to go, obviously, but as it stands right now, I'm not willing to call a macro top in its current trajectory. I need to really see this thing come back down and close below the 9th of March low. That's what confirms it as a macro top. Until then, you know, even a higher low, somewhere around 85, $86 is still a higher low. So, you know, I think maybe a bit premature right there. But of course, gold, I don't think that this one is premature. I think that this one played out very, 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 very well. And I think that it has a lot more to go as well. Gold playing out 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on characteristics RSI, which, by the way, I forgot to mention it again. It's the last day of our sale. It's our 8-year sale going on right now. We got 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the teachable link description below. Even Caretaker's RSI, which is actually a part of Caretaker's full indicator suite, but we do it also on its own as well, as it has been requested. Like Caretaker's RSI is like one of the most highly requested indicators actually, but the code is 8 as a number, year as all capitals, no spaces, no nothing like that. And I'll pin Elsa's message as well. That goes until the end of today, and then no more 20% ever again until the next cycle, until the next sale, which will probably be on the next major holiday as well. Crazy idea. Anyways, as it stands right now, I do kind of expect a bit of an interplay at that yellow 21 EMA. That is 4,600, kind of where it's hanging around right now. So I do expect this one to attempt a small bounce right here. We kind of saw that yesterday, to be fair. It did bounce up to about 4730-ish region. I think that you might see the same thing to open up next week as well. But regardless of whether it gets a bounce or not, I think it is a formality. Overall, this thing wants to come lower. Overall, I think if we fast forward another few months, we will at some point see a tick down to about $4,000 even. Somewhere down around here, I do think or I guess I already got the circle in there, but somewhere down around there, I think is rather likely. It can take its time, obviously, but we are starting to finally see this thing turn down. Volatility is turning up on this move to the downside as well. So, you know, I do look at this as my personal opinion is that this is the next macro high for gold. It is absolutely a major high for gold. And I would not be expecting gold to, even if I'm the biggest bull, to be putting in new highs. I mean, anytime soon. I mean, this is going to take some time to really shake itself out. And again, I want to go over, you know, that 10-year sort of timing for gold cycles. It has played out incredibly well for the history that we do have, which, you know, there's really only 3 previous iterations of this, but hey, we got the same thing for Bitcoin too. You know, seems to play out rather technically. And these cycles generally take about 10 years from low to high. We've seen it all the way from 1930 to 1940 right here. We saw it again from 1970 to 1980, more recently in 2001 to 2011. And then of course, the most recent macro low was in December of 2015. And we have seen the macro high in this in January of 2026, which is, I mean, basically 10 years as well. So, you know, do I think that it's highly likely? It's a high probability move that this is a macro high. Yes. Is it fully confirmed as of right now? For me, it is. I mean, for me, it is. I can understand if someone wants to go by the book, they want to wait for a closure below last month's low, which is 44.02. Fair enough. I think that you might even get that before end of this month. It's very possible. But yeah, if you want to go super by the book, that would be it. I don't think it's appropriate. Personally, I don't think I need to be that conservative in this case. I think this thing wants to come down. We've seen all of the major toppy signals that you expect to be seen, especially with extreme monthly volatility. You know, this thing doesn't even put in extreme monthly volatility unless if it's a major macro high or major macro low. And in this case, it's obviously not a low. It is, in this case, a high. So yeah, man. And of course, looking at the quarterly, remember, we're going to be closing the quarterly at the end of this month. And as of right now, it looks like one massive shooting star dildo right in my fucking face on extreme volatility, on the highest RSI reads that we've seen since basically 2011, so 10 years ago almost, with the previous macros cycle high. And that would actually be even a lower high. Thus, you have the potential for real bearish divergence. And at some point, you know, that's going to be a move likely down to that yellow 21 EMA. Now, of course, doesn't mean that's going to happen on the next period. Very unlikely to happen on the next period. You know, probably takes, I don't know, multiple, you know, could take multiple years. You know, that could easily rise up into the mid 3s before it gets tested. But here's the thing, man. When you look at this, extreme volume, extreme volatility, reversal dildo formation, extreme momentum signals as well. I mean, what more signal can you ask for in this case? You know, I said the same thing about silver as well. Silver, a lot more obvious here. I went maybe a little bit too far in stating one time, if you don't think that this is a macro high in silver, then fuck you. But hey, you know, I got a lot of very angry comments after that, and it is what it is, man. Look, I'm just having a little bit of fun, but you know, it quite a bit is. I'm not saying fuck you. I'm not happy that, you know, if you're in this and you're losing money or whatever. It's just I'm just reading the fucking charts, man. I'm reading the tea leaves. That's it. That's all. And by the way, I have another update with the options 101 play. There's a lot of love going into this one, and I truly just do love options. Anyways, yeah, silver, this, I mean, Jesus Christ, man, this is picture perfect. Nearly back down below last month's low as well. Last month's low is 64.06, and right now the low of this month is 65.48.9. And again, it's just looking like it wants to try a little bit lower, probably next week, maybe even today. But I do think that you will see this thing with the 5 handle in the not so distant future. Am I muted? I'm not muted. I don't think I'm muted. Yeah, I think maybe you are. No, okay. Multiple people are saying I'm muted.
You're not muted.
Yeah, I don't think I'm. No, make sure that you're make sure that you're on the most updated live. Yeah, okay. It's good now, apparently. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. On silver, look, man, it's very likely to come down more from here. There might be another bounce at 65 or 64 bucks. It's possible, sure, but don't be surprised to see this thing with a, you know, with a mid 5 handle in the coming, you know, few weeks. I would imagine this thing wants to come more down. I'm muted again. What the fuck is going? What do you mean muted again? Are you? Is? Okay. Apparently it's to do with the mic or something like that. It could be a bad wire. It could be. Let me actually check it on the other side of my computer too. Just one moment. Well, hopefully it's good there. Yeah, maybe it is due to me touching just caressing my mic. All right, one moment. Okay. Dude, it happens for about 5 seconds. Okay, hold on. I thought he got banned for saying fuck you. Yeah, fair enough, man. You noticed too late. It is what it is, man. Look, I'll try not to molest my mic that much, but it's difficult, man. I see this nice big round BBC in front of my face, and I just want to fucking suck it all up. Anyways, why is that funny? There's nothing funny about that at all whatsoever. Yeah, let's go into Bitcoin. We haven't even looked at Bitcoin in a while. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, it's fucking Bitcoin stream, and we don't even look at Bitcoin no more because, well, really, it's just not that interesting. But again, you know, just reminding myself, looking at the price section, or the price section pivots, no, the price stats right here, we did find today's high right on the average of the positive daily returns. Classic shit right there. I think that that's very likely going to be the high of the day, and I'll be using that now as a reversal point as well. It's clipped. What the fuck else? Mike is also gay for Tia. Indeed, man. Indeed. Yeah. You know, but marking off that area, which is 71,350 basically. As long as Bitcoin's below there, look, we just got our next lower high. We're very likely going to move back down to the low side of the range at low 60s with stops along the way. I'd imagine at about 66, I think it was, is the next big one. And then, of course, maybe intraday today, if you're quick enough, although I would not get greedy with this because it is certainly counter of the overall move. You know, you do have the average losing days for Friday coming in around about 68. What is it? 68,700. So maybe a short-term bounce there, but I would not be trading against this one right now. Against the current trend right now. I think this was a trade to take right here if you're going to scalp this one at all, right? For a day like today. Of course, we also do have our moons over here giving us a little bit of an idea of, you know, how far down to expect. Of course, we have seen the past 5 iterations since Bitcoin put in the current macro cycle high, averaging about 6 to 7% down from the next moon signal given to the next major low, and in this, or next major low, just the low of that 2-week period. And for right now, that'd give an area of interest around 65,000. So I do think that Bitcoin might try a short-term bounce at 65, 66, something like that. But am I that enthusiastic about it? No. I mean, if Bitcoin gets back down to this previous low at $66,000 from the 8th of March, yeah, you might get a short-term bounce just by retesting a low, but that's going to really lead into a extremely likely return to the actual bottom of the range, you know, between somewhere around $61,000. So, you know, again, I just don't really have any reason to be bullish on pretty much most things, if not everything. I guess the only chart, if you want a chart to be bullish on, there actually is one, or maybe bullish isn't the right term, but I think it's bottomed. And it is a Bitcoin chart, but it's not Bitcoin versus the dollar. It's Bitcoin versus gold. I do think that this one actually has bottom. We called a bottom on this one last month. I'm still sticking with that, man. I do think that Bitcoin is bottom versus gold. You see, I mean, basically this is a test of the green 55 EMA on the quarterly time frame. Maybe gets one more try exactly down to that number. Did I upgrade the camera? No, I didn't, man. I just put on a light, so that actually helps quite a bit. But yeah, you know, looking at it here, this is exactly where I expect another higher low on this pairing. Now, does that mean Bitcoin's going to go up versus the dollar? No, but versus gold, I think that we've seen that cycle play out. And here would be perhaps the most hopium-inducing fact that I can give you for right now. While Bitcoin versus the dollar, most people know that once you've hit that macro high, you typically got about a year from them until you find the next macro low. Well, that high, obviously, for Bitcoin versus the dollar came in, of October of the previous year, 2025. However, when we look at Bitcoin versus gold, we see a very similar interplay. And I would argue that maybe gold is a better denominator for this one, just because gold, you know, commodity, more steady, to be fair. The US dollar, very volatile in the past few years, to be fair. And we have seen that same sort of interplay here. So if we go back to the 2021 cycle, you can see there was the top, there was the bottom, 367 days. Beautiful. I mean, right fucking on time, right? Anyways, same thing over here, right? For the 2018 cycle. Top in October is top in December, obviously, and then bottom in December of 2018 right here. So basically 1 year on the fucking dot once again. And then what do you know? For this cycle right here, a little bit longer, about 457 days from that top to next major low, but still kind of played out in that fashion. And of course, for our current cycle, you'll notice that the top was not in October of 2025. It was actually in the fourth quarter of 2024. So if we go with that, from there to our current low, that's 457 days. So, you know, is it that crazy to think that this pair has bottomed? I don't think so. Does that give a little bit of confidence for Bitcoin versus the dollar? I don't know. I really don't know. The dollar is kind of the wild card right there. And it's also, among the other reasons why I'm not I don't want to get super bearish on Bitcoin. Yes, I think Bitcoin's got downside here. Yes, I think Bitcoin, it's obviously just not bullish right now. Duh. But I really don't want to get super bearish because I do think that the very commonly held belief right now, for good reason to be fair, is that Bitcoin's going to spend, most of this year going down until October of 2026. Fair enough. I mean, that has been kind of the par for the course. But for the Bitcoin versus gold chart, I mean, we could very much think that the low is already in, and perhaps that's maybe even the more accurate chart to be going off of, at least for value when we're looking at commodity versus commodity, or asset versus asset, rather than, asset versus dollar. And of course, like we've gone over, the dollar has actually been rather volatile in recent times due to the obscene amount of printing and all sorts of financial craziness going on in the background, which very few people understand, myself included. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got for Bitcoin right there. Oh, let's go over the Rev and Ribbons. As always, Rev and Ribbons kind of been the star of the show as of recent. What do you know? Rev and Ribbons rejecting precisely exactly where the daily price statistics were as well, which is the high of the day, the mid band as well, which is 71,230. So again, rejecting the mid band is telling you something in and of itself, that Bitcoin wants to live below there and trend below there. And assuming that this one does trend in the fashion that we typically expect from the Rev and Ribbons, we should kind of be expecting a range to evolve between the mid band at 71,250 or so, and this dotted green line right here in the lower band, which is currently at 66,500 or so. And it can get walked down there for quite some time. So, that's effectively what I'm looking for, probably next week. Something like this comes down, maybe gets walked down. Maybe we see, even lower than that coming into the end of this month, or perhaps early in April. But from there, I actually don't want to get super bearish with Bitcoin just yet, expecting like new lows or like consistently closing on new lows, shit like this. But hey, if it happens, it happens. I mean, at the end of the day, look, Bitcoin closing below that February low. It's like, okay, well, whatever. Just send it down to fucking Hades, I guess. So, gotta roll with the punches, I suppose, there. Other than that, like I said, I did get another strong buy signal on the LTI, on my LTI macro buyer right here. So it's like, if we do have another downside, I'm more inclined to buy that for Bitcoin for the long term, not for short-term trading. If you're short-term trading, I think the only trades that make sense right now are shorts, honestly, or if you're trading options, there's a lot of things you can do. I think just basically shorting premium right now is probably the go-to move, that's what I've effectively been showing you with my options trades. But in terms of Bitcoin for the long term, I'm still going to be looking at these as like some pretty good value areas. I mean, all of these signals in the past, looking back at them, I would have been very happy to have bought those and never looked at it, for like the next few years, and then just being happy, many years down the road. That's kind of what I'm getting at right now. Anyways, that's pretty much it for me. Let's go over to the super chat, see what's going on here. I see that there's already a lot, which is cool. I thought that today was going to be kind of a boring day, but I guess not so much. Anyways, we got Steven Schickman first. He's looking at GLL, daily, weekly, any targets. I don't know. Probably upside targets if there's any. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we actually started. Okay. So before I was telling you somewhere around $20, it's now not at $20. It's above $20. So not bad. Look, if I'm bearish on gold, then I have to be bullish on this. It doesn't necessarily work out to like a one-to-one fashion, obviously. And you might get a pullback in the short term here, back down to 19.5. But either which way, I think it's a formality. I don't think it matters that much. Long term, the trend is your friend. This thing, I do think, has another 10 to 20% move to the upside from here, somewhere between like 23 to 25. And you're currently at 21.5. So, yeah, 10 to 20% move, basically. What the fuck is that noise outside? There's goddamn construction going on over here. I move out to the suburbs not to have to deal with all this noise and shit. And now they're actually doing something good. They are implementing new Google Fiber. I'm very happy about that, but not right now while they're making noise. Fuck them. Anyways. All right. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Just got distracted by my own self there. Steven Schickman's back. He's looking at stocks, daily, weekly. Gotcha, man. I forget what we were last on this one. I think bearish on this one, but I forget. No, it'd be this. This is a bear 3x. It is trying to put in a higher low here. That is very obvious. Look, I need to go back to the regular chart though, because I remember that one had something more obvious. Fuck. Well, yeah, before I was saying I would be expecting a little bit of upside here. I'm going to be wrong about that, I think. I have to switch to a downside bias on SOC, which means an upside bias on SOCs. And there's a very obvious pivot for this, but I do think that my previous analysis my previous bias will be wrong. This one's 79.13 on the reversal. That would be effectively your rejective high on the next lower high. Yeah, and I do think that it is kind of telling that it did get rejected there. So yeah, fair enough. If I have to call any direction, I'd have to call back up to $44 here. So that's a 10% move to the upside, maybe even more than that over time. But yeah, that's kind of what I'd be looking for right here. Only way I'd switch around if it came back down below Wednesday's low of 37. Yeah, 37. Until then, I think this thing has upside and SOX has downside. And yeah, my previous analysis will be, or at least my previous bias will be incorrect. But hey, there's a reversal point. So as long as it's, as long as it's above there, I mean, yeah, upside is the name of the game, and probably looking at $44, maybe more if it's a real reversal. But it's probably not best to be betting on any real reversals on this. Or at least if they do, they're probably short-lived like we saw over here. But yeah, in the short term, yeah, some upside, man. Anyways, who's going to tell them it's going to zero, this thing? Well, I mean, probably over a long enough period of time, man. But I don't know, if you're listening to me, then short term, different than long term. Perhaps that maybe not got heard. I don't know. You never know on the internet. You never know who's going to hear what. Cameron Malpe says, UMAC Daily. Is this the end, my friend? Is it the end of your friend, the trend? Let's see. I don't know. I remember looking at it like last week. It looked decent. No, I still have to like a chart like this. And I still have to be honestly looking at a higher low on that 55 VMA. So you're basically there right now. Probably does stab a little bit lower, to be honest. Maybe somewhere around like $14. Let's see, do you have any bearish evidence? You do. You have 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish evidence. I don't think it's the end of the trend. I think that it is a pullback into a higher low, and it is going to go lower. Probably closer to $14 first. Play at that bearish divergence and hopefully turn around somewhere around there. Maybe get wicks lower, something like that. But just don't want to see it really closing consistently below there. But overall, I'm still going to like a chart like this, man. For me, whether it, yeah, my LARP line still kind of accurately summarized my thoughts here. Whether it bottoms out at 14, maybe in a crazy situation it comes all the way down to $10. I don't know, but overall, I'm going to favor a chart like this. Looking at the monthly as well, like it's not terrible. Just might consolidate a little bit longer. Honestly, as long as this thing's above, especially $14, I am overall bullish, and I think it's just a matter of time waiting for a breakout. But when I see a chart like this that has generally been acting very, very well, but the general market pulls back, and it's a market thing rather than a singular stock thing, I have an inclination that this is going to be one of the more quicker recoveries, if and when the market does turn around, which at some point it will. But if I'm looking for more downside on SPY, which I am, I just don't think that you can be bullish on really many things until that plays out, honestly. It's just going to take some time, man. But I would imagine this probably be one of the better responders once the recovery does happen. I think that is going to be one of the first movers. So I have it on my list. I'll put it that way. I don't own any, but I am actually looking to own. So this should end up being a nice opportunity for me. Hopefully we shall see. Anyways, Cameron Malpe says, how good is living in Australia? Set alarm, wake up, super chat, back to sleep. Fuck yeah, man. Good night, sweet prince. We will reconvene later when you're awake, sir. It's probably dead of night there right now, isn't it? You guys are like basically a day ahead of us. Tron Jeremy says, Jemmy, 4-hour in daily. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to you as well. By the way, it's also almost my anniversary with Elsa as well. We've been together for almost 9 years now. Holy fuck. I don't know how the hell she deals with me for 9 years. Like, imagine stay with me for 9 years. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyways, looking at Gemini right now. Elsa? What? Terrible, just terrible. Gemini, terrible. See, this is what I'm talking about, man.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you?
Well, you're the one who stayed with me, you silly fuck. Like, you haven't figured it out in 9 years that I'm a crazy person with a microphone. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But we have a dog now, so everything is all good. Gemini 563. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, this is why I'm extremely patient with shit like this. We obviously do not have a higher low right now. Coming back down to that previous low is almost undoubtedly not going to amount to anything more than just a short-term bounce. This thing almost undoubtedly wants to go lower. So my patience, I think, will be rewarded here. Will my patience be rewarded in Circle? That's another conversation. We'll get to that one a little bit later. But this thing, I do think it's coming lower. The thing is, though, is that when you test a major low like this, you're probably going to bounce on the first pass. And I think you already had that bounce right here from yesterday. Bounced up from about 5.5 all the way up to 6.25. So pretty big bounce, actually. Like 20% bounce, basically. So that's actually incredibly big. Maybe you get one more attempt on a bounce and maybe it goes for a gap fill, but either which way, this is I'm not buying this right now. The fact that this thing came back down to this low, I'm not interested right now. Long term, I am interested in this. I just think that it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower first. And I mean, just kind of eyeballing things right here, not doing things in a scientific, technical way. I do think that, we're going to see like a 4 or 3. I mean, probably like a high 3 handle on this. Maybe at that point, I'll start to see some bottoming signals. But for right now, we don't even have anything that's suggestive of a low. I mean, we just had another lower high on that green 55 EMA. That's textbook. As I've said many times, on hidden bearish divergence on Characteristics RSI as well. Like this thing wants to come lower. It wants to come lower, regardless of whether it tries another bounce here or not. So I'm looking for this thing to first, it's like when you throw a rock down, it's not going to really bounce. It kind of just stays on the floor for a while. And then someone needs to pick it up and carry it for a while. And then it can go up. So I'm not in any rush here. It's on my list. Yes. Do I think it's bottomed out? No. Do I think it goes lower? Yes. Just eyeballing it, probably high 3s, which is a big move from where it's at right now. But that's like what, another 30% move? Let me just double check this one, kind of where I'm looking for. Yeah, probably. I'm looking for another like 20 to 30% downside move from here. And then maybe I might pick some up just for the sheer fact of it being so fucking far off its previous all-time high. I mean, it's already down like what, 90%? God, that is, yeah, not good. Okay, it's not down 90%, guys. It's down 87.69. It's really not that bad. Okay, it's okay. It's all right. It's go back up in no time, right? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that chart right now. Lutfi says, hello, sir. What's up? 0, 4-hour daily weekly. Gotcha. Okay, another random crypto shitcoin, but the shorting queen is back. So let's see if she's caught another Pokemon short here. Well, I'm just assuming that you're shorting this, but look, I'm going to be bearish right here. I think this is a perfect place to be bearish from. You're testing right at that weekly 55 EMA. If there ever was a place for another rejection, this would be it. So take that as you will. I know, if you're just looking at this chart devoid of the context that is some random shitcoin in the crypto market, you'd be looking at this and be like, there's kind of a chance for reversal here. And that's what I'd say if it was a real stock, but it's not. It's just a random crypto shitcoin. It's never really gone up over any consistent basis. And I'm going to be significantly more biased towards this one continuing its trend because the trend is your friend on a disastrous shitcoin like this. So yeah, I think that you're going to reject precisely from here. There might be another bounce in the short term. If you're on the 4-hour time frame, maybe another attempt back around like 2.25 or something. Maybe, I don't know. But do I think that ultimately it's going to come back down to like these lows here at 1.25? Yeah. So 4-hour time frame. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know. Maybe you try another bounce here. I really don't have strong opinion on that. Maybe there's some signals. Let's see. Hey, show me the signals. Technically, some bullish divergence is developing, but that does not look good to me. It does not look strong. I don't think it's going to amount to really anything, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be I think it's going to be ultimately a failure. So I think best case scenario, you get something like this, but I probably wouldn't even be counting on that. And then you come down and it's a nice long way down, back down towards these lows over here. I think that's the ultimate destination for this thing, and probably just lower over time anyways. I mean, shit, it just knows how to go down. Going down is what it likes to do. Everyone loves going down. Well, maybe they don't love going down, but they go down. They love to go down. They're very commonly going down. Yes. Short Cardano about to break market structures stuff. Stefan Mastroianni, definitely Italian. I'm genuinely curious. I am reading this one out of context here, but I'm always good for some good. I'm always good for some hating Cardano. Oh yeah. Is it going to break structure? I actually don't know if it's going to break structure right here, but it is bearish, obviously. My LARP lines say yes, but I don't know, man. It can bounce a few more times off of this multi-year long support. Oh yeah, we have some support here. The support's going to be supporting, no problem. Don't worry, your Cardano coins are very safe, very, very safe. Oh yes, yes, don't worry guys. You can accumulate at support. We have some support action going on right now. Support means bounce, right? Support will only go up, and it's quantum resistance. That's exactly right, Nova Sparks. And you... Come on, man. We all know quantum resistance means moon emojis, fucking rocket ship emoticons. That's exactly right, sir. It's going to be doing one of these. And I just needed to, put the lizards off my trail real quick. It's going back up to all-time highs, probably beyond all-time highs, leaving everyone in the dust. There used to be one guy who would comment on almost every single one of my videos who was a Cardano fan, and he really took it personally when I talk bearish about Cardano, because I mean, well, look at the fucking chart. I ended up having to block him because he's just too fucking crazy. Like, there was no amount of price action that could ever convince him that this thing is just not good or will come down or whatever. And I sometimes wonder like where he is, not to make fun of him or anything like that, but I'm just genuinely curious, like at what point is there a point in which those views relent, just as like a psychological study? I'm curious. Anyways, moving on from there. Let's see. Mr. Cowboy NZ says, wait, what? I don't see any super chats from Mr. Cowboy New Zealand. Hold on, let me scroll up here. I might be able to find it. I don't see it. Oh, I see it. Okay. I'm stuck in the EU. I want to lower my price. What is your reading on time to buy some more? Okay. Just sorry, my super chat needed more info. Disregard and let me say thank you. You can just tell me, dude, and I'm happy to do my best for you. I don't know what you're talking. I'm gonna guess you're probably talking about Bitcoin. Just granted the context of this channel. You want to lower your. I'm guessing like you might your DCN for the long term, something like that. It sounds like is maybe your preference or. Again, I'm making some assumptions here, obviously, but look, I can tell you what I'm doing. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I'm doing. I am happy to buy low $60,000. I've done that a few times now. Do I think that Bitcoin come lower? Yeah. But do I think it's a good do for the long term if you're going to be holding for many years to buy low 60s? Yes, I do think so. But certainly be prepared for Bitcoin to come down to like a mid 5, maybe even low 5 number. That's the next area that I'm looking for, basically, to put maybe more money to work on Bitcoin. Somewhere down around, this wick low right here, the sort of accumulation of wicks in between about 50,000 to 53,000 bucks. What does the timing look like on that? Who knows? I have no clue. I would think if we are going to get a move down like that, that would be like a summer type thing. It would be like a summer of this year type thing, because we're getting our first test really into that green 55 on the monthly right now. It's unlikely to just shoot right through it on the first pass. It's going to probably accumulate some price action. Now I say that, and that's not really what it did over here in 2022, but in previous cycles it certainly has. So I'm going to go with what generally happens over what doesn't happen all that often, and say, hey, you're more than likely going to get a lot of sideways price action right here. And if we do get another stab lower, I would think that that's a summer type move. And that would be the next area that I'm looking at. But I'm not so interested in timing of these moves. I'm interested in the price of these moves. So my major areas on the way down have been upper 70s, low 60s, and my next one's going to be low 50s. And below low 50s, I start to get a little bit more concerned, honestly, with Bitcoin long term. But as it stands right now, again, Bitcoin also wicking off that yellow 21 EMA on the quarterly, like, if we're thinking in terms of timing, I think you're going to get at least another bounce playing between the 5 EMA and the 21 EMA. And the 5 EMA should come down to about upper 70s, I would imagine, in Q2 when April begins. So I think that you will get another rally around there sometime in Q2. I don't think it's going to surpass it. I don't think it's going to go up to 90,000 bucks or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be a reversal, but I do think that you probably end up testing it, something like that, man. Anyways, un momento. All right. We got Freddie M next. He's looking at RCAT dumped after earnings as promised. Don't want to toot my horn too much there, man. But yeah, that is classic shit. Rally into earnings, dump on earnings. Even if earnings are good, you dump on them. You're also at the top side of your range. So yeah. I think it's got more downside here, man. I think it's finally playing out the move that I was kind of anticipating before. My LARP lines, right, or I guess I erased my LARP lines when it was reapproaching this high over here a few days ago. But basically coming back down to that 55 EMA, maybe even a little bit lower overall. I do think that there's a threat of a move down to about 12 and a quarter as well. Definitely possible, but whether it's here, whether it's there, I don't know. Both of these areas, I like both of these areas. I do think is where I'd be expecting on a higher low. Now, when I go to the weekly time frame, I do think it's more likely it's going to come down to that 12 and a quarter number rather than base off of where it's already gotten to. But again, I think that that's an opportunity. I hold a lot of this one, full disclosure. It would be a lot better if the monthly closed above that $16.50 pivot right here. That would be super, super easy to get super bullish on. But for right now, I still favor it. I just think you got some downside here. And again, please understand my disposition on this one. I am in this one from significantly lower, like more than 2x or more than 50% lower right now. So if you're trading this one right here, that's a lot more risky than kind of the sort of perspective that I'm coming from. But again, I do think that there is more downside in the short term. I also do think it's going to end up being an opportunity. I like what the chart's doing right here, but yeah, man, I think the current rally is obviously over, and it's like, is it fine overall? Yes. Do I think you have downside? Yes. I think it could easily come down, another 10, 15, 20%, still be a higher low, and then do its thing to the upside maybe later on, probably a Q2 thing. So yeah. Anyways, got Greg Griffith next. He says, BNO, my good sir. Nice name, by the way, as well. Rolls right off the tongue. This is Brent Oil Fund. So we got some oil players here. Yeah, so this one's a lot different than, of course, crude light. This one's just continuing to make new highs. Hard to hate this. I mean, obviously this is bullish. You're making new all-time highs on volume. You're back above this previous one from all the way back in 2014, so more than 10 years ago. The breakout looks real. Yeah, technically you want to see the monthly settle officially above 46.68. You might see a pullback, to open up April and come back down around there, but ultimately this thing really looks like it wants to follow through, which is weird to me because I would expect this thing to play hand in hand with crude light, and it doesn't. But that also probably just speaks to my silliness when looking at oil and gas type related names. It's just not my thing, really. But for this thing, look, it's overall bullish. I think that it wants to go higher overall. I think in April, you probably got to pull back a little bit to like low 50s, maybe high 40s, something like that. But, if it finishes out the month anywhere above $50, this thing is going to be going decently higher, I think, in Q2 of this year. The only way I'd get bearish on this, and if this did happen, I'd get very bearish on it, by the way, like very fucking bearish. If you see this month finish below 46.68, I would get very, very bearish. But until then, this is what a technical breakout looks like. So yeah, I have to follow that. Even though there are some other things that that doesn't really look right, but fair enough. We got another 11 days left in this trading month to go. So we shall see. But right now, I think it's giving all the right signals for a real breakout. So just another 10 days left to wait, and then there you go. Anyways, and again, you didn't give me any time frames on there, so I'm assuming it's probably higher. MG76 is looking at Chevron. Yeah, man, CVX. Okay. Yeah, really good here, man. It's finally above $200. Who was the person who asked when 200? Well, I guess there's your answer. This week is 200. Look, really bullish, obviously. I lament myself for not buying this when should have bought. Fucking stupid, but whatever, man. Bullish as fuck. This thing, I think, is headed up well past $200. Your next stop is 215, but 215 is not going to be the high of this rally. It might be a short-term pullback, but I really think that this thing you're going to see at 250 to $300 in the coming quarter or two. This is really fucking good. Really fucking good. It is absolutely the best chart that we've seen today. The only way I could possibly negate these thoughts is if this thing came back down below 190 before end of month. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but you always need an invalidation. Yeah, bullish, man. It's fresh breakout. Fresh breakout. Someone asked for Circle. I'm actually just genuinely curious what Circle is doing myself. Seeing as Gemini's doing what it's doing. Yeah, Circle. Okay, this must be the high. I called the high over here. Wrong. This must be the high overall. Overall, my opinion is still the same. This is not a runaway rally. This is not the real reversal. I think it pulls back and hopefully gets a higher low, and that's the real reversal, but this should be the real pullback now coming. Weekly starting to shape up as a bit of a shooting star dildo. It's got 2 hours, 50 minutes, and 15 seconds and counting. So, closing here or lower by the end of today, I think will solidify this next major pullback. Hopefully it's a pullback into the higher lows. I still want to see this thing back down around at least $80 before I consider investing, and preferably, I mean, a little bit closer to this gap fill here at about 60, 65. But beggars can't be choosers in this case. But I do think that this is finally the high. Again, I said that a couple times previously. That was wrong, obviously, but still, the overall sentiment is that I'm not looking at this as a reversal right now. I'm looking at this as a potential reversal after a pullback. So now I think we're getting the pullback. I will very likely pick some up on this pullback, but I want to see very specific price action between those two numbers that we just spoke about. So yeah. What else we got here? We got Create Wipe Hype. He's looking at Tesla. One moment. You're talking about closing below the daily wick low dump. Let's see. All right. Tesla, TSLA. Okay. Oh yeah, man. This one is breaking down. Oh yeah. I don't think it matters for yesterday's wick low. This one's been in a breakdown this whole week, basically. Look, if you do want to play it by the wick low that I really be referencing is 382 wick low from the lows of November of 2025. Obviously, you're below there right now. You got 2 hours, 48 minutes left to go. And today, closing below there, I think, opens up the floodgates for a big move lower. Again, I own Tesla myself. I've already sold some, but I will sell I'll probably sell the rest of my position, assuming that it closes somewhere here or lower. Because I do think that this thing will come back down low 300s, upper 200s, somewhere down around here, most likely. I initially got in this thing at around, low 200s. So I'm happy to just take profit here. Yeah, I think you got downside. I think your sentiment is basically correct. Where is it going to bottom out at? That's a good question, because this is starting to look like a real reversal here on the quarterly. The quarterly is below the last quarter's low on bearish divergence. Not good. So yeah, I'd probably be looking upper 200s, 280 to $300 on the pullback. It can get quite nasty. Again, that is pending this month's closure, and of course we got another 10, 11 days left to go. But yeah, overall, I think that this thing is going to be coming lower. You got a lot of reason to believe, and it should be led by this weekly closure right here. So it's not too crazy to think that the weekly might bounce back up above that pivot before end of day. Again, that pivot being 382.78. It's not that crazy, but that would really have to happen, again, before end of day here. And until then, I just think it's follow through on a breakdown, man. Pretty much exactly what you said. John Jude says U.S. winnings in Iran so much they need 200 billion. Can't open the strait and begging Europe for help. Okay, I can definitely see your political biases coming through in this message. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, I mean, do you call it winning or losing if you take out just about every higher person in the chain of command in their military and also political system systematically? I would think that that's a big win. Do you need 200 billion more? I mean, the US can just print their money at will, so that's kind of a moot point. Begging Europe, I don't think they're begging Europe. Europe is not even capable of helping to begin with because they are militarily incapacitated, and they are basically militarily fucking eunuchs, man. Europe has no military. They're pathetic. I'm just speaking militarily. Look, I love a lot of European people. I've lived in Europe for a long time as well, but for fuck's sake, man, if you know anything about Europe, they are not capable on their own. That's why NATO exists. The whole previous world order was predicated upon basically Europe doesn't need to invest in their own defense, and the US will just do it for them. And Europe can do all their silly social programs and try that shit out, which obviously is not working that well, or at least it seems to be not working that well. And it seems like right now with Trump asking, look, at the end of the day, you don't fucking know anything. I don't know anything. I don't think any of these stupid fucking podcasters, these pieces of shit, definitely don't know anything. In fact, they don't not only know something, they are intentionally misleading, I think, as well, just for clicks and shit like that. But anyways, my point is that when you're talking about Trump begging Europe for help, I think if you're thinking in terms of game theory, he's probably doing that so that he can leave NATO because he knows that they can't help. They're not capable of helping. They're not militarily competent. And so if you ask them for help and you know that they're not going to give it, then you can also justify getting out of NATO. It's like, hey, you didn't help us when we needed help, so we're not going to fucking help you. that would be my take. But look, what do I know? I don't fucking know anything. I'm sure we have less than 5% of the total information. If you're actually in power, you probably have like maybe 80% of the information. I mean, all of the stuff is mostly underground. We'll never know the truth of the situation. So it is what it is, man. You just got to trust the leaders that you elected, assuming that you elected them. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. Anyways, very much politically biased there, I can see. 1236 and says, hey, Crown, SNDK. Gotcha, man. SNDK. M Trade says, yeah, but Europe imported all those military-aged men from Africa and stuff. Won't that help? Yeah, they are lining up to sign up for the military, as you know. No, not even that. It's not even that though. Like really for Europe, they just don't have like a competent military. They haven't been appropriating enough of their budgets to the military because the U.S. was just taking care of it, and they instead put it towards social programs, which obviously incentivized a lot of these people from, these third world nations to come over and yada, yada, whatever. This is not the type of channel for that. So who gives a fuck, man? You shouldn't give a fuck about my opinion on that anyways, man. Anyways, SNDK. What about this daily and weekly? To be fair, actually a pretty good chart, all things considered, but I don't think it's going to be immune from the pullback here. You do have bearish divergence on the weekly and daily developing right here. You got lower highs on the daily RSI between this point, and presumably higher highs on price, although it has not technically confirmed a local high just yet. It will when it comes back down below Thursday's low of 692. Does that happen today? Does it happen early next week? I don't know. I think that you do get a short-term pullback, but similar to some of the other stronger charts that we looked at, when you see a pullback in something like this, it's an opportunity, right? And an opportunity for this thing would look somewhere down around about 650, fill the gap right there. Also retest that 5 EMA. I think that's a fair proposition. Looking at the monthly, it's overall kind of good here, but it'd be a lot better if it closed above last month's high at 725. So I'd be looking for a short-term pullback, honestly, man. Yeah, Crown, fuck you. More charts, man. All right, fair enough, Tony Rosas. Fuck you too, buddy. Fuck you too. Craden C says the cost of UK at £160 a year per imp. Whoa. That can't be right, man. That's too crazy. That's too crazy. I can't believe that that's true because it's just too fucking out there, man. Like, what the hell? That can't be true, man. That literally cannot be true. How could a country even financially sustain that? That actually can't be true, right? Right? I hope it's not true. I really hope it's not true. I really fucking hope it's not true. Anyways, 1236N is back. He's looking at STX. Is this the crypto shitcoin or is there a stock? Maybe it is a stock. Yeah, Seagate Technology. I think they make hard drives, right? Not bad here as well, actually. Kind of similar to the last chart. You do have that same drive of hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. I think the daily probably, looks about the same here too. I think that you might get another pullback down to like 375, but ultimately it's good. I think that this is another one of those ones that you want to have on your list because during any sort of market correction, this one seems to be a big winner. I mean, shit, man, just look at the long-term chart. It's beautiful, beautiful long-term chart, especially ever since since April of 2025. I wonder what that is, but again here, man, it's getting pretty crazy on the monthly, no doubt about that. But I give it a chance still on the daily. If it comes down to like 375, I'd be looking at that as a higher low. Obviously, you got a range going on right here, breaking back above the range highs at 457 equals 500 plus basically for something like this. In the short term, kind of rejecting around those previous range highs. If I had to draw out a LARP line, it'd be like this, blah, 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 blah. Maybe one more try to the upside. Probably, if it does break out, you're probably looking at 500 to 520. And then at that point, it's like, man, this thing's really, 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 really extreme right here. Monthly RSI, probably highest levels this thing's ever seen ever. Indeed it is. Monthly BBWP, also highest for longest it's ever seen ever. So it's like, if you do get at that next move to 500, I would not be getting greedy with that. I think that this thing is mostly seen the overwhelming majority of this rally already done, man. Yeah, RIP Chuck Norris, markets won't recover. It really is truly an ominous signal. Chuck Norris, the invincible, the immaculate, is dead. That's real? God damn, man. That's sad. Well, I guess we all die, but yeah, he was pretty cool. We shall watch some Texas Lone Ranger, or is it Texas Walker Ranger? What is it? Walker Texas Ranger? What the fuck is this show called? Does anyone know? It's Walker Texas Ranger, I think, right? Right? Anyways, AAP says, so why, sir, why does Metasignals use Joule V1 and not V2? Because V1's better. At least if it's one that I'm thinking that you're thinking of. Because V2 was like a random one that the original creator made, but me and him had a major following. I mean, he just turned out to be a massive fucking scammer. But anyways, V2, no, that's not what the system was built around. All of the backtesting was done with V1. V1 is the one that actually had a hand personally in helping create. V2, I did not. And V2, if it's what I think you're thinking of, yeah, I do not endorse V2. I put it that way. Aiden6122 says, pull up Bitcoin monthly and premium stochastic oscillator. Wait, what? What's the premium stochastic oscillator? Pull up Bitcoin monthly and premium stochastic. I don't understand. I actually really don't understand what you're asking, man. Premium stochastic oscillator. What is that? The premium stochastic. I don't know. Maybe he made up some, or I'm just completely fucking clueless. Could be both. It could be both. I have the advanced stochastic, but that's not premium stochastic. I don't know what you want me to look at on this, but I have marked it off before that once the stochastic oscillator gets down to this 20 read right here, it generally has correlated with macro bottoms before, or very close to macro bottoms. I mean, it worked in these 3 cycles right here. The most recent one in 2022, I mean, probably would have been the low if you didn't get the FTX collapse going on. You know, that probably just would have been one massive rounded bottom, kind of similar to what we got back over here in 2015. But hey, either which way you cut it, I guess, you know, coming into April, I mean, you're going to be back down around there. Maybe one more period after that if you want to be super conservative. But in terms of timing, you know, maybe that could make sense. Like sometime in, you know, between April, May, June, something like that. Just basically Q2, be looking for a low. I'm kind of that same opinion. You know, I really do think Bitcoin is significantly closer to the bottom here than not. I don't know about timing of that, but yeah, that's my current take at least. But I'm not sure if I'm even interpreting your comment correctly, sir. AAP says, can we look at the Bitcoin log rainbow chart? Oh yes, the gay chart, sure. We can. I don't think I remember exactly which one it is. I don't think I called it rainbow, yeah. No, it's long term. Yeah, long. Oh man, holy shit! How did I remember that? It's been so long since I've looked at this thing. Okay, you're talking about the log rainbow chart. You're talking about. Let's see. No, that's not it. Oh, I probably got rid of it. I probably got rid of it because honestly, I don't really like it that much. This is the rainbow indicator chart, but it's probably not what you're talking about. You're talking. I know which one. I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about. Let me. Bitcoin log rainbow. Let's see. Okay, it's the regression. It's probably this one. Okay, that was an old rendition of that. A failure, I should add as well. Is it this? I don't think this is probably it, because this is not very useful. Maybe it is. I don't know if it is. I mean, theoretically, you could see a lot lower than where you're at right now, but generally we've seen market macro cycle lows between the very low end of this, which would be $30,000, and this sort of cyan colored right here, which is about $49,000 right now, probably raise up to 50,000 on the next monthly closure. I don't know, man. I don't know how much faith I put in these things, to be honest, because a lot of the time with these regression charts, they draw them like after the cycle, after the most recent cycle has ended. So it's just like perfectly fitted. If you draw it from cycle to cycle and it's like completely updated, it's not like a extrapolation, then it's just fitted too well. And that doesn't give it any predictive capacity in the future, unfortunately. And I think that's where a lot of these like rainbow log regression charts have kind of fallen off. I remember a lot of people used to use that, some very famous people as well, I suppose too. And it's a complete fucking farce. It doesn't work. And I've been kind of banging the drum on that for a long time. So I take offense to that. Of course not, man. That's the ego speaking. But yeah, you know, my take is, if it's something like this, I just don't care, because I don't think that those are fitted properly, or at least they are usually almost always overfitted, and they just don't have predictive powers. It's the same thing as like drawing a trend line after the fact. It's like, yeah, okay, you told me about the past price action, but can you tell me about the future? It's like, okay, great. Doesn't really mean that much. Yeah, in this case, I guess you kind of look at these areas as value down here, I suppose, if that's how you're going to read it. I don't know. But you know, it's more like I'm trying to mold myself to this indicator rather than that. I think just having value on its own, to be honest. So yeah. 4-year cycle bottom now. Bottom cannot be in October. It has to be between now and next few months. I mean, I'm kind of generally of that opinion anyways. Yeah. But as far as that chart, I don't know if that's necessarily what it means. You're saying that's not the chart. Fair enough. I don't know if I can find the exact one that you're looking at, but a lot of these ones look the same to me, honestly, man. Yeah, I won't fuck with it too much here, because I've seen a lot of renditions of these things, and it's always kind of been the same. But if you want to pass me the exact name of the indicator, I guess I could look at it, but I think just at the first, outside, I'm not that interested. All right, we can look at it here. Pretty quick turnaround right there. Bitcoin rainbow wave. Okay, it's rainbow wave. All right. Let's see. Okay, now my chart is very much not readable. Okay. Let's get rid of this. I'd be curious to know when this was fitted, because this one's, again, it's a little bit too perfect. I mean, maybe, if that's how you're going to go off of it. Look, it confirms my belief. So I am inclined to think that it's going to work. Is it actually going to work? I don't fucking know. But it does, kind of agree with what I've been saying through other means as well. So I can add it to the list because it helps confirm my already previously held beliefs. Yeah, man. Maybe. I mean, that would be the low $50,000 area right there. And that's kind of where I think the maximum low you might get on this current move is. That's just a, current hot take. Can be totally fucking wrong on that, but yeah, man. Yeah, don't really have much to add on to it other than that. I guess if we go off of, no, the green lines aren't always great, but they have worked for the past few cycles, and that'd be kind of anticipating the low in October. So kind of contradicting what, I guess, your interpretation of it. But yeah, other than that, I don't think I have a good read on this. I don't think I have a good opinion on this, or let me get rid of this. Okay, wait. Bitcoin rainbow wave. Yeah, okay, yeah, that is the right one. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Look at premium stochastic. Sir, I don't want to look at a million different indicators, man, to be honest with you. Premium stochastic oscillator. Jesus Christ, just sounds like a goddamn marketing name. Jesus, dude. Looks like a stochastic RSI, and I think that those are absolute fucking garbage. That's what I think it is, man. It's a 32 stochastic period with a 5. I mean, it's just a super long running stochastic. So it's not a stochastic RSI. I don't know. Has it worked that well at all? I guess, kind of. I don't know, man. I feel like you can find a million different indicators to confirm whatever belief that you have. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you here. I think, I just don't have any interesting views on this thing, man. Yeah, very premium. Very much premium, sir. Let's see. One moment. Oh, the chat on the right is hiding the prices. Thanks for that, Abrib. Sorry, I read that a little bit later, but oh well. We shall survive. We shall persevere there. Anyways, might as well slap a reverse function onto the Stokes. To be honest, it'd be better. I mean, pretty much in all cases, having a reverse function is going to be better. It just gives you more insight on what it's actually doing. But yeah. CKaz says, good day, sir. What's up, man? RKLB, ST. What? Well, God, man. RKLB. This is Rocket Lab. But what's ST? Short term, I think. I think that's what it means. Bad. This is a top for a long time, man. But you said short term, so let me, I don't know, 4-hour time frame. Well, also bad here. Hidden bearish divergence on another lower high in a downtrend off of a reversal on increasing volatility. I think this thing is getting ready to break down to like 57. Does it happen in the short term? I don't know exactly what short term means to you, but even if we go down to like a 4-hour time frame, I think at least you retest these lows here at like $65. So it just depends how far out you want to go. Short term, I think you retest these lows. Medium term, I think you're coming down lower towards 56. Long term, I think this is a top for a very, very, very long time. And I think in Q2 of this year, you're going to see like low 50s. Yeah, this is a top for a long time, man. This thing's done. This thing's done. Had its chance. It had its chance, and now it's done. And that's okay. It had a really good chance. Had a really good run. I mean, shit, man. Went all the way from what? $5? Yeah, $4 all up to $100. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. It's like a Palantir-esque type move. Impressive for sure, but I think it's ready to be done for a while. Cool. Yes, I agree, Mr. CCAS. It looks like it's ready to go down. I agree, sir. I agree. Adam Collane says, any update on your 4 ETFs from a month ago? AIQ, XAR, DTCR, nearing your price targets? Yeah, pretty, I think, should be getting pretty close. I think AIQ probably already hit. Let me see. Let's go through some of these. AIQ. I think we're coming down. Let's go to a monthly. So I wanted it low. I wanted it like high 40s, low 50s. So I already got that. And I do actually have a short term. I do have a small position in this, but I do think it's going to come down. So I do think I'm going to be DCing of this. This is going to be a long-term hold for me, of course. You know, it is the AI technology ETF. So these are things that I really do want long-term. Do I think that I might have to eat another 10% move to the downside? Yeah, I think so. And honestly, that's why I go in kind of shallow with that first pullback. So I'll be DCing and probably next 10% move to the downside, somewhere around like 43 to $44, currently trading about 47.5, something like that. There's going to be bounce along the way, but I do think that this thing is putting in a short-term reversal, short-term on the monthly. It's going to come back down, test somewhere around that yellow 21 EMA. That's where I really want to get the heart of my position on. As far as XAR is really coming down now, which is really, really good. I don't think it's come down to the prices that I specifically want just yet. We do have some bearish divergence there on the monthly. It's already hit the red 5 EMA. Am I getting too greedy now? Because I've really done a bad job. Well, no, it's exactly at the place that I marked off before, in fact. That was 260, 262. I actually have not initiated my buy on this because for whatever reason, I did not get a alert, or maybe I didn't. I just missed it. That might actually end up working out to my favor because I do think that this one will come down a little bit more, fill this gap here to like 250. God. So last time I was looking for a position in this, I got a little bit too greedy with expecting more downside. I don't want to make the same mistake here, but I do think it's got a little bit more here. I'll probably start to go in around 255 to 250-ish region. Do I think you could have more downside than that? Always possible, of course. I mean, shit, hopefully this doesn't end up being a shooting star dildo because that would be high for a very long time. In fact, I would have to really reconsider that investment if the monthly the quarterly ends up something like this, especially if it's below like 255. So, okay, I feel like I'm making the same mistake as last time, but so I'm gonna have to stick with my guns. I'll put in a little bit at 255, but this, depending upon how this month closes out, if it's below 255, yeah, about 255, I'd probably just immediately sell whatever I buy and get ready for lower. I think. I mean, Jesus Christ, that would look pretty ugly right there. So fair enough. And then DTCR, this one also I'm waiting for as well, but I think this one's probably gonna be coming a lot lower. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still looking low 20s. I've been having my eye on about 22. You can still see I have my initial alert here at $20 even. I don't think it's going to get that low, but I do think somewhere around 22. So that's still another 10-15% move from where we're at right now. I'm going to be patient here as well. Maybe this ends up being my, famous last words, right? Because I've done this a few times with these names where I've gotten a little bit too greedy expecting pullbacks. But this is the environment for that right now. We got SPY pulling back as well. I do think I'll be justified in waiting for this one. So it is what it is, man. Let's see. Yeah, Robo is down below. This one I did jump the gun on. That's for sure, man. That's for sure. Now, I do just have a starter position in this one, but I do think it's coming down lower. I do think it's coming down lower. I think this one's going to come down to the yellow 21 EMA as well at 63, 64 bucks. I'll probably pick up some more there too, to be fair. But keep in mind, I've been DCing into this one ever since here at about $44. So I've had buys here between around 44 to 45. I did another set of buying somewhere around here. This was kind of where we're at right now. And I'll do a little bit more when it comes down here, presumably at around 64-ish region. Again, very long-term hold for me, being that it is robotics and AI, basically robotics and automation. So these are things that I have, a lot of confidence in long-term, I suppose. But in the short term, I mean, that's looking like a major high. I mean, shit, man, look at the quarterly. Like quarterly above 72 is a breakout. Quarterly below 72 is a range play. And a range play here probably leads us back down to low 60s, high 50s. So yeah, got to be aware of that. Cool. Anyways, let's see. Stefan Mastrioni. Sorry, man. I meant to ask about Bitcoin dominance in that super chat. God, do we really have to talk about Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin dominance is the most overplayed, irrelevant metric only done by people who can't get anything else right, because this is obviously a bearish chart. But the bearish chart doesn't mean your stupid fucking shitcoins are going up. They're not. They're obviously not. This is why I think it's such a fucking phantom to be focusing on. Like, the people who are focusing on this are completely in the wrong direction. They haven't figured it out for the last 3 years. This chart does not fucking matter. It doesn't matter at all. When it's going down, your shitcoins ain't going up. When it's going up, your shitcoins are definitely not going up. So at least there's that. I guess it has some value in that sense. But this is a bearish chart right here. It wants to come down, and it's going to come down. Or I shouldn't say it's very likely to come down. Okay, high probability to come down. All right, blah blah blah. You get the idea. But my point is that, look, if you want to be bullish on your stupid fucking shitcoin, just look at stupid fucking shitcoin versus Bitcoin as the dominator, rather than this ridiculous chart right here. It has zero predictive capabilities. Zero, nothing, nada, zilch. It has not worked for a long time. If you haven't got the fucking message that it doesn't work, put the goddamn phone down. Holy shit. It's truly unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable how people will slurp up this fucking sloppy content regarding Bitcoin dominance. It's completely fucking irrelevant. It's coming down right now. Am I bullish on shitcoins? Oh, let's go look at Cardano coin. This one's doing great, right? Oh, my Cardano coins must be going up because Bitcoin's going down. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's shitty too. And it's only been going down for the past 6 months, even though, wait, but what? The Bitcoin dominance chart is going down too. How could this be? How could this be? Great. Look, there are some shitcoins that go up versus Bitcoin, sure, but you're better off looking at shitcoin versus Bitcoin pairing rather than stupid Bitcoin dominance. It means nothing. You're going to be on the wrong side of shit more often than not looking at that. If you want, like, as always, it's better to be more direct than indirect, and Bitcoin dominance is completely indirect. It hasn't been relevant for almost like a year or two. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Hype is one of the few coins that's doing well versus Bitcoin. And well, sure, fair enough. I don't doubt it. It was looking pretty good this past Monday and Wednesday. And how would you know that? You look at it versus Bitcoin. Exactly. I mean, shit. My point exactly right. Right there. It's like, you don't need to look at stupid ass Bitcoin dominance to know that chart's going up. It's in an uptrend. Most things are not. All right, what else we got? Orthodox Quant. Interesting name. Hey, Crank, can you take a look at SLB Limited? Sure. Medium to higher term time frames. To me, that means for stocks like daily, weekly, monthly. Formerly Retard Quant. Oh, we got Orthodox Quant, and now Retard Quant has re-envisioned himself as the Orthodox Quant. Well, fair enough. I'm guessing YouTube probably made you change your name or something like that. Let's start off on the daily, or let's start off higher. We'll finish lower. Not a big fan of it right here. It's been in a general downtrend since 2014, basically during monumental bull markets for everything else. Not a good sign generally. On the monthly, you do have a drive of hidden bearish evidence on Caratrix RSI, coming off of not extreme volatility, but relatively high volatility. So I am looking for this one to play back down from here. Not a breakdown move, but a range play move most likely. So I do think over the next few months, you probably find your way back down to like 32, 33 bucks, whatever, somewhere down around there. Yeah. Short term, more medium term. I think you probably just found your next lower high right here too. You do have a nice inflection point on the price action pivot at 48.75. above there, I think you get maybe one more run towards that high at 51, 52 bucks, something like that. But either which way, whether you get that move or not, which I think is probably unlikely, I think you're ultimately going to be coming back down here. I'd be expecting another short-term bounce at around 40 bucks on the gap fill right there. So maybe it ends up looking something like that. Blup, 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 blup. Back down there. Yeah, you know, this thing has really struggled during a pretty secular, powerful bull market. So you have to imagine that when SPY pulls back, this thing's going to pull back pretty nastily too. So yeah. Yeah, if that hidden bearish divergence gets confirmed, which it will if it closes anywhere below 47.35 by end of this month, you have to be looking sideways and down from here, man. The trend is your friend, in this case to the downside. Flynn Sizemore. Sorry, Flynn Sizemore. Good day, sir. What's up, man? TRUSD. Okay. All right. We got some real shit coins here. Oh no. Wait, what? TRUSD. Okay. No, it's not this. I actually don't either. I don't think I can look at what you're looking at. I'm guessing it's like a random, like super random shitcoin, in which case it's not on TradingView, because as you can see, when I type in TRUSD, there's not even a ticker for that actually. Closest thing is Tron, if anything, but yeah. Oh, you wanted Tron. Okay. Oh man, it's like I almost read your mind there. All right, Tron. Gotcha. Okay. We missed an X, but that's okay. And again, exhibit B, why looking at Bitcoin dominance doesn't fucking matter. When you look at Tron, I mean, it's actually doing well here. Surprisingly, but it is, especially compared to most everything else. I don't know, is it going to retest this high here at 31, 32 cents? I think it might. You got the monthly on a higher low as well with hidden bullish divergence. Like, this is not bad. It's not bad. So while I do think you're going to retest this high right here at 32 cents, if you start to close dailies above there, I think I would extend that move another like 10 to 15% back up to 35 cents if that happens. Only bearish if it comes back down below Monday's low of 29.5 cents. Until then, the trend is your friend right now. And funnily enough, I mean, it's one of the only actually good-looking, decent-looking shitcoins. So, yeah. Yeah, I got it. I already saw. All right, great. Crypto Juggle says, hey, Crown, can you look at hype? Sure, man. Yeah, and this is another one that's actually doing pretty decently versus Bitcoin, at least if Wednesday and Monday's analysis still holds true. Let me find the proper chart here. I think it's this one, yeah. Well, find a little bit of a local high right there, and no bearish divergence, but a little bit of a local high. I think that you do pull back a little bit more. It's not necessarily bearish, but, you know, if it pulls back down to, let's say, like 37.5, I wouldn't be super surprised. I don't know exactly what time frames you're looking at. Here's the thing. Coming into the end of this month, if this thing's closed in here or higher, I would be expecting this one to try higher in April, which is kind of a surprise. And when I say try higher, I mean like 45 to 50 bucks. If that happens, it has to close here or higher, basically. Yeah. Short term, I do think you pull back a little bit. But, you know, you got higher lows, and you kind of expect a higher low around 37 bucks or so, give or take like 50 cents from that number. Only bearish if it really comes back down below about 35 and starts to close below there, or 35.5. Until then, you do have a reversal. You got low, you got high, higher low, higher high, pulls back into another higher low. I mean, at that point, you kind of got to be looking for this thing to retest these highs over here. So yeah, very possible. Very, very possible. Again, contrary to the overwhelming majority of most shitcoins, not bad, not bad. But still, again, for the short term, I do expect a little bit of pullback there. Adam Collane says, Gemini monthly, quarterly ranges. Don't think there's much of a quarterly to really look at there. And I don't think you can really even look at ranges on something that's really only been downtrending ever since it was born. Look, I don't think ranges matter here, man. This thing wants to go more down. More down, go. Down more, go. Go, down more. Look, I mean, your range high, it's not even a range high, but your last lower high is 10 bucks. As long as you're below there, it's just, I don't even think you have a range. I mean, if you really wanted to be super optimistic, you'd say range low is 5.5, range high is 10 bucks or 10.25, whatever. I don't think that's going to hold. I think this is a trend. This is a trend. The trend is your friend. The monthly, I think, is very conclusive here. It wants to go down more. I don't think there are ranges here, unless you're on like very short-term time frames. I think range plays are the wrong thing to be looking for here. This is a trending move. It's a trending move, and it wants to go down more. It even has, I mean, I don't know how much I trust this hidden bearish divergence call on caretaker's RSI, just because like it's such a weak RSI here. I mean, it's like it's truly an atrocious RSI, but if it means anything, which yeah, probably does, I think that you're going to get new lows here. I don't think it's going to be a range. I'm personally looking somewhere around upper threes, like 380 to 390, just as like kind of a mental bookmark, I guess. But yeah, like if you're looking for a range right here, I think that's the wrong mentality unless you're like super, super, super low timeframes, man. Why is it so hard to take profits when you're up? Because it's hard to imagine that things will ever turn down. And then it's really just hard because, well, there's a lot of reasons why it's hard, right? Why is it hard to take profits? Well, first off, did you even have a strategy that told you to take profits? Because that's the hardest reason why most people just don't take profits, because they didn't even have a objective signal to go off of that tells them to take profits to begin with. So that is issue number one. Now, if you did have that already laid out in advance of ever taking your trade, then what would be the psychological reason for it? I mean, does it really matter what the psychological reason is for it? You just need to do it. Like, you can feel bad about it, but you should just do it. But I imagine a question like that, I'm not picking on you or anything like this, is very, very common, man. Like most people just go into trades without a strategy at all, or they're just going by the vibes. Yes, the vibes. They're doing it on a, basically like a discretionary basis. That's the problem, man. In the moment, you're just not going to take the right action because you never even laid it out to begin with. It's the problem. So almost always it comes down to that. Maybe not always, but certainly almost always. But yeah, as far as quarterly ranges for this, it's like, this is your quarterly chart. It's just a continuation. I don't even know if buying in like the upper threes is going to be a good idea. Like there is no indication of a bottom here at all whatsoever right now. Like not even close. It's really bad. Like it's really fucking bad. It looks like it looks like fucking Rosie's poops coming out in the morning. And these are very, very similar actually as well. Because there's like a big long part and then a small string at the end. Very ugly, very disgusting. And I pulled one right out of her mouth right before she was able to swallow it. So I was very, very, very quick today. But yeah, it looks something like that, man. It's bad. It's really fucking bad. CCAS says, is Coda done long term or is it bounce in the next 2 to 4 weeks? Let's see. I mean, well, it can play out bounces, but it could still, go down, obviously. So this already looks like a very bizarre chart. Oh, it's one of these down only charts. God, man. I'm going to say it's more than likely done just because this thing has never had a real reversal. You retested your previous high over here, you rejected from it. Yeah. I think you're done for now, at least. At the very least, it's going to look something like this. You come down to the 21, bounce, come down a little bit lower towards like 9.75 to $10. Maybe that's going to be a low. But if that's going to be a low and you reverse from there long term, do we really think that this thing is going to enter into an uptrend after being this since 1995? I mean, probably not. If you look at it from this angle on a log scale, it's like, it's not so bad, right? But I don't know, man. I wouldn't trust in myself personally. I think your next move is down, basically. Now, if you're looking for bounces, you're probably very close to one at about $11.50. Then you got another big one, probably around about 9.5. About 9.5, let's say, maybe a little bit above there, 9.75. But do I think it's done for a while? Yeah, I certainly think it's done for a while. Like, I don't think you're going to bust out to new all-time highs or new highs above even this high from 2019 anytime soon. So I think that's kind of what you're asking. The Mossinator says, PFE, please, mate. Is it struggling to break out on monthly or just consolidation? Let's see. PFE. Pfizer. Okay. There is no monthly to be broken out here from, my man. I hate to break it to you, man. This is a downtrend. If anything, this is putting in another lower high right here. You have hidden bearish divergence forming between this high from July 2024 and presumably the high from February. It's struggling to break out. There is no breakout, man. I think that this thing's coming back down. You're probably going to see, you're more likely to see a move like this than you are to see a move like this. Maybe you're talking about a weekly where it's trying to break out. No, I think that this one's putting another lower high right here, just to be super, super, super blunt. Yeah. just kind of like, look, the trend is your friend. That's exactly what we expected, trending lower high on the bi-weekly and the monthly. Like, I'm gonna let the trend be my friend in this case. I'm gonna call a high right here and then down, not a bounce. Now, I mean, if you're just trying to play a bounce, what does bounce mean to you? Does bounce mean just like a little bit of upside, but not a reversal? Then yeah, you probably get one if it comes down to like 25 and a half, somewhere around there, or 25 even, something like that. But do I think it's going to reverse back, and hit a new high on this rally, like to $30? Probably not. No, I think that the highs are in for this rally more or less. Yeah. Sorry, I did it again, man. Flynn Sizemore says Tron. Oh no, we already did that, so we're good there. Pizza says, hey, Crown, XRP daily, weekly, and 10-day. Okay, cool. New one. Nice. All right. Let's go over to XRP over here. Sorry, I should come up with an invalidation right here. Like, what if I'm wrong? Of course, always possible. Definitely happens. Look, any sort of a closure above $28, it's not very helpful, but that would be a new high in the rally. And at that point, I'd be looking for an extension towards $31, $32. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be my line in the sand. Always need something resembling an invalidation. Anyways, for XRP, daily, weekly, 10-day, I think XRP's found its weekly high here. I think just like Bitcoin, it's coming back down to these lows, somewhere in the red circle. Maybe as much as like 110 on the lower end, and probably at least like 1.25 on the upper end, in these next few weeks. Something like that. Yeah. Don't really have much else to say about it, to be honest with you. Daily, clearly another lower high. I mean, textbook. Right on the daily 55 EMA. It's a corrected move. It's a corrected move, undoubtedly. Now, I'm not saying that it necessarily needs to make new lows. I think it's going to test maybe somewhere between 1.25 to 110, something like that. And maybe it does put in a macro low there. It's possible. I mean, I think the same thing is possible for Bitcoin too. For XRP, for all the hate that it gets, I mean, at least it wicked off of the 21 EMA on the quarterly, and does have a quarterly uptrend. Most shitcoins can't say that, so fair enough. But as far as this current rally, yeah, I think short term it comes back down into range lows, and I probably wouldn't be biased towards a breaking of those range lows right now. So yeah, cool. Mr. Cowboy NZ says, sir, what I meant is I am stuck with EU stock, medium price at $3. EU stock. Oh, okay, that completely changes everything. This Encore sounds a lot like Enron, man. Oh yeah, if you're stuck in something like this, man, I think the best move is just get out right now. Use that as a capital gain or capital loss to offset your capital gains. I don't think this thing's going back to $3 anytime soon. I think you had your chance over here. It was okay to be bullish over here. It looked like a reversal. Once it lost $3 again, that was the tell. This thing is coming back down and coming back down hard. Yeah, man. I wouldn't touch this with the 10-foot pole, man. I want to lower my price and get out. I want to lower my price and get out. I would not. I seriously would caution against thinking of things like that. Like, you don't want to DCA into something like this, hoping for a bounce and then lowering your initial entry and then getting out at like break even. I think just take the loss here. Use this pullback to go find something else that actually is good and get into that, and use this to offset your capital gains that you'll be having elsewhere. I think that this is going to be you have significant risk to the to the downside here. If you're trying to play a bounce, like what, you're going to wait for this thing to get down to like 130 and then bounce and DCA there, and then maybe you get like an average price of like $2. I mean, even that, you're just it's just a bad move. It's just a bad move opportunity cost wise. It's also a bad move against the trend. It's extremely risky. I really, really, really would caution against that. Again, I'm not your fucking dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I feel like this is a mistake. That is a mistake. That is a big mistake. Wow, it's the first day that I actually am nowhere near the bottom of the chats, and we actually probably have to go somewhat soon. Yeah, Elsa, you can go get ready. I'll finish out the rest of them though. CKAZ says XOM, weekly, monthly. Gotcha. Like the stock. Oh yeah, the stock. Yeah, ExxonMobil. So another gas stock. This one better than Chevron, to be fair. I mean, it broke out earlier. It's generally been better long term. This thing, just like Chevron, I think has really, I already have kind of areas of interest going on here, but let's, yeah, you're kind of at the first one already at 156. I don't think things are going to stop there. Maybe short-term pullback, but it doesn't matter. This thing is, I think, headed between 185 to 215. I think that's very likely where you get towards in this rally. It's really, really good. Really fucking good. All-time high breakup was January, unlike, yeah, and that means that it's stronger. That actually means that it's stronger. That's a better sign. So right now, the things that are doing well are, you know, gas corporations, oil corporations, these sort of things. This one seems to be the best of the bunch. The best of the bunch, man. Whoops. I pressed the wrong button. Press the wrong button. All right, let me get through the rest of these super chats and we'll call it a day. RCAT on the daily, we already looked at it, so we're good there. Crypto Ninja CDU on the daily. SIDU. This thing? Okay. Oh, I'm on the wrong chart, sorry. Or did you mean it's some random crypto shitcoin? Thank God it's not. All right, Sidious Space. Cool name. Daily time, long term, really don't like it. Daily time frame. Yeah, when I see a chart like this, I'd have to be biased towards more downside. If I was just looking at this, I'd say, you got a chance for reversal here, but I think that's hopium. Short term, I think you come back down to the range lows, probably bounce, you know, go sideways for a while. If you start to actually break and close below here, I'd be getting ready for like the next major push down. But until then, it's a little bit of hopium here to hold a range this way. I just think short term down, go sideways for a while. Hopefully, for your sake, breaks out above $2.5. That'd be bullish, you know, for a real reversal. But I think a lot more likely you're going to end up breaking down below 180 over, you know, a long enough period of time. And at that point, just more lows, man. Just not good. So yeah. All right. Ty Hit says GM, sir. CNQ on TSX. Thank you for specifying the exchange, sir. That's actually very, very helpful. Daily, weekly. Gotcha. Okay. I'll be finding a high here. It's right at the, I guess I've charted this one before. It's at the the 2x range extension right here. So generally you do kind of expect a pullback from the region. It's not necessarily bearish, just pullback though. It's had a pretty nice run too. And you are on extremes for weekly volatility and the highest weekly RSI you've seen since, Jesus Christ, man, it's higher really than 2022. So it's been a couple decades since you've seen RSI this high. I think that you're coming into a short-term high right here. It's not, I wouldn't call like a macro reverse or anything like that. No, it's actually quite good. But if it pulls back down to like $60, don't be surprised. Or even like $57, you know, somewhere in this pocket here, don't be surprised. I think ultimately that's a higher low and you do try higher over time. This is pretty good long-term. In fact, I might even be very much wrong about a pullback, at least to those lower levels. It might be a shallow pullback because the monthly is still bullish. This is good. I think that this thing will hit at some point like $80 or so. So long-term, still good. Short-term, maybe a short-term pullback. In fact, I do think you get a short-term pullback here. I just don't think it's going to be like super crazy. Maybe like 64 to 62, something like that, man. But yeah. Jay Watts says Solana 4 hour daily. Oh man, we got the last person watching Solana. What? Yeah, go get ready. Solana bad, coming down. Bearish as long as you're below Monday's high of 97 or what is this? 97,666. Devil's number right there. Very bad. Very, very bad indeed. Bad juju, bad omens. I think generally coming back down to this $80 low. And if history is anything to go off of, Solana probably more down over time, but at least in the short term, you know, somewhere back down around here alongside the rest of the market. 4 hour, just as bad. I don't understand why anyone's really paying attention to these things, to be honest with you. But hey, like I said, you do you, man. Just be ready for more trend continuation. In this case, that's more downside, unfortunately, man. Fair enough. Sorry, not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, assuming that you are hopefully short and laughing to the bank as you make all kinds of cash. Chris Fella says UAMY. Okay, we've had a lot of U starting stocks today. UAMY is short-term down, bearish divergence, 1, 2, 3 drives. Long-term, not bad at all. In fact, long-term, but short-term, I do think you got some downside here. Failed the breakout above, what was it, about $12. Not a death sense or anything like this, but I do think you got a little bit of downside. Probably tries for another higher low, or at least I'd be biased towards another higher low somewhere around here, around somewhere between like $6 to $7. So I think you're pulling back for a little bit, and then hopefully continues on with trend from there. Because long term, not bad at all. Like more or less fine long term. But short term, I think that you got a bit of a correction here. But ultimately, probably an opportunity. And hey, the second that you traded back above that rejective high from early March at 11.49, bullish and probably new highs. Yeah, at that point, new highs. So this is the way that I read this, just a pullback after retesting your previous all-time high. Very common stuff, not a death sentence, but it can spend some time going sideways below that high and then try the real breakout. So I think you're waiting here, honestly. I think you're waiting for a while. We got Daniel Garcia next. He says, how do you feel about your NVAX on the monthly? I and weekly as a small allocation action litter ticket? Lottery ticket. I don't know why you're calling it mine, man. I don't think I've ever... It's Norovax? This is not for me, my man. Jesus Christ. How do you feel about NVAX on the monthly and weekly as a small allocation? So I guess what you're trying to get here is you're trying to get one of these one-off rallies, and you kind of got some signals here. You kind of got a higher low right there. You got bullish efforts. I don't know if I trust that at all. You're on low volatility. So the problem with this is that if you're going to take a position right here, where does it make sense to manage on a monthly? Well, it'd be 6 and 20. That's a really far way down from where you're at right now. So that's a lot of risk. Now, if you're right, you're probably going to move up here to like $20 to $25, which is more than a 2x move. So is that risk reward acceptable for you? I mean, as a small position, maybe, maybe worth it. It's certainly a punt. Now, do I think it's going to, more importantly, do I think it's going to work out for you? No, I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to top out here and come back down. But I can see the setup that you're looking at. I understand what you're seeing, and at least it's a valid setup, kind of. And if I'm wrong, I mean, shit, man, that's more than a 2x move. Like, that's pretty fucking good. So can't complain about that. But do I think it's going to work out? No, personally, I don't. I think that you come down in the short term, back down to like 8.5 and probably just range on the lows for a while. I mean, it is generally just a downtrend anyways, but like I see what you're looking at. I don't know, maybe if this thing closed the quarterly out above, if it closed the quarterly out kind of here or higher, like if it finishes March above, like where it's at right now, or especially slightly higher, I would reverse my opinion. But I think you're going to come down before then and finish the month lower than that, and this rally will fall apart. That's just my personal view. Not really backed up by technical analysis, except for just trend analysis. So yeah, if you want to play the position, like I get it, I understand it. It's a valid one. It's just I personally don't. I think it's kind of going to go against you, man. Mr. Escobar says hood monthly and just monthly. Gotcha. All right, hood over here. Down, man. Yeah, this thing's top for a long time, I believe. Should be bounces along the way, but quarterly is about to finish its first quarterly ever since 2023, where this rally really began below the red 5 EMA. So, assuming that it does finish below there, I think you might get, you could very easily get one more rally back up or you very likely will get one more rally back up in Q2 of this year to retest that 5 EMA. Might be at like 85 at that point, or low 80s. I don't know exactly where it's going to be, but somewhere around there, I'd imagine. But that's where I'd be looking for a rejective lower high before this thing does head lower. This is bearish, objectively. And my circle of destiny here, I think I have to move a little bit lower. I think it's more so going to be between 50 to 40. And that should be a big bounce attempt. Maybe even the next macro high or low. Could very well be. So, yeah. All right, I'll do one last one for Mr. Craden C. He's an OG of this channel, and of course, I just can't ignore him. I've got to poop so bad. Yeah, man. Me as well, sir. Me as well. Historical price context. Once Bitcoin gets around 200 simple, I'm guessing you mean on the weekly, which it is. I mean, you could kind of say that it's already even tested there. Anyways, 200 SMA. And the 21 crosses the 100 EMA on the weekly. The bottom was either in or close, and we ranged for months. Yeah, I saw actually someone point this out in the Discord as well. And yeah, that is true. And that's kind of the opinion that I'm at right now is, as well. It's like, am I bearish here on Bitcoin? Yeah, technically it's a downtrend. Yeah, technically you got to be looking for downside. But I do think that the low itself, if it's not already in at $60,000, I think maybe I got another 15% down to 50,000, worst case scenario on like a quick wick. But all things considered, I like this area for value, low 60s to high 50s. I think it's a really good long-term value area. I'm right there with you. And yes, I did see that. I don't know, maybe that was you who posted in the Discord, but at least someone posted in the Discord. I'm like, yeah, I agree. I see it. I see it. It just tells me I don't want to get carried away with being super bearish here. I feel like a lot of people are having a guilty pleasure with getting super, super bearish right now. Just like in bull markets, everyone's going to call for like, crazy prices. In bear markets, everyone calls for crazy prices too. I'm not of that opinion right now. I objectively, we've seen a lot more signals that say Bitcoin is very close to a low. If not, maybe already there. It's possible for sure. So it's like, look, if you're a long-term investor, I'm going to continue to say the same thing. I think it's a good value area. You got to be willing to go underwater by, maybe as much as 30%. It's possible for sure. Do I think it's going to happen? No, it's not my base case, but I'm prepared for that to happen. Again, if you're holding these things for at least 4 to 5 years, probably going to come out on top, but you might go underwater in the next year. Very possible. So yeah, just depends on your risk tolerance and all that good stuff. And again, I'll tell you exactly what I've done. I bought a pretty decent chunk of Bitcoin in the low 60s. It might end up looking bad long term, but that's okay. Again, I'll be holding that position for about 9 years from now. Anyways, Lou Ferragno says we will likely retest the lows before taking off though. Yeah. I don't think that this is like the one test towards the low. I think you might even get a wick lower. I think it's very possible. Yeah, the lows can take a lot of different forms, but look, if Bitcoin is still trading between 80,000 bucks on the upper end and about 55,000 bucks on the lower end, and we're in like the middle of summer, I'm going to look at that as a macro low. The more that Bitcoin goes sideways here, the more and more I'm going to feel confident with that view. But anyways, man, wow, I am like way over time today. I have to get to the gym. Elsa's got a trainer soon. So yeah, we have to shut things off. I've really enjoyed this stream, really enjoy the comments and community as always, man. Always a fun part, always a highlight on, like, I genuinely look forward to these. It's really, really fun, man. I think we've got like finally the right cadence of live streams and just regular video uploads. And yeah, I'm enjoying the tight knit community right now as well, man. It is, it's nice and quiet, and that's where the fun action happens. I'm going to do a lot of work on the Options 101 playlist this weekend. I think, and I don't want to be too optimistic here, but I think I will have it ready for a soft release at the end of next week. Not this week, but at the end of next week. And of course, if you haven't already checked out the TA 101 playlist, it's 100% free. It's available in the first link in the description below. And yeah, been getting a lot of great feedback on that, and I really appreciate it. And it's cool as hell, man. But right now with the options playlist, I'm really struggling with the quizzes. Oh man, it's hard because when I do the quizzes, I realize, oh man, I need to explain this part better because you actually need to understand that in order to understand this. And I just completely glossed over that. And it's coming together. I promise you it is coming together. I'm very proud of it, but I think I need to do a few more things with it. Anyways, we'll sign off on that note. As always, want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully